Meanwhile, in the Edgy Name Village, we have this really, really cool looking character here. I love her so much, she's amazing. I personally preferred her being called Sun, S-U-N. That was her name in the previous fan translation. I think we've heard of Temujin before. Samson told us about him. Well, told Alicia. So she's fighting in the Historia War. Alongside Richard, that means. But they seem to have a secret mission as well. Yeah, General Silver, that's her name. Ah, that's true. Wow, really? So, yeah, she is a member of that exiled group of Black Knights that Mintz was a member of. And, you know, being exiled from the current regime of the Canaan Empire is probably a good thing. Lord Lionheart of Selba. Now is this the conversation that had a slight change in the fan localization? So finally we're meeting her. This is San, daughter of General Silver of the Black Knights. Freeing Zoan lands from the Empire, even though Zoa was where the cult originated. That's interesting. Now, I guess you're gonna go on a whole my army can beat up your army thing. Oh, you know, you're not really connected to Warlord Temujin, though. Verna, okay. Now, if you saw Martel's conversation with Sasha in Chapter 4, you would know that that means Martel is actually the other sister of Frau. So yeah, yet more off-screen Fire Emblem game action. Bonding over a shared younger sister experience. Well, I mean, San doesn't have any siblings, but bonding over being treated like kids. I thought she was gonna say, let's be friends. I can just imagine it immediately cutting to him saying, absolutely not. Wait for it. Actually, no, not wait for it. We're back on the map screen. So our next destination is the village of Blood. But... actually, no, we don't have another part of the Latina event. That's after Chapter 15. So we don't really have anything we can do except go to the city and, check. I didn't get to show this during Chapter 14 itself, but I can show now. They sell pylons. Also, Blizzard. Blizzard is interesting. I believe that if Blizzard hits, it cancels the enemy's counterattack. But it's nowhere near as reliable as Sylphid for doing that. Welcome back to more of, I almost call this Fire Emblem for a second, TearRing Saga. Our next destination is the City of Blood, but first I've done a little bit of off-screen selling, and I sold one of my Miracle Charms, because I don't really think I need them all that much, as well as a few money bags, but not all of them. I want more than 7,000 gold before I go into this next chapter, because there's a skill that I really want to buy for at least one person. In terms of other things, I've dumped the chest rewards from the end of the last chapter into the convoy. I should probably dump that occult book into the convoy too. I mean, I suppose Martel could take that. I'm not going to need those door keys or the smith's hammer yet. Oh, she didn't gain enough mastery to use the Levin sword, unfortunately. But since Samson is already a warrior, I have two people that I could use that hero crest on, Vega and Zeno. Now, Vega is the objectively better choice. We are going to be getting another hero crest later, and, like, again, if I cared about the objectively best choice, I would go with Vega, but he's already strong as it is, and I personally really like Zeno. I think I'm going to promote Zeno here. Also, I've given Shigen Land's Mirror, because I guess he's the closest I have to a frontline unit in this party. I don't, like, really have too many, like, cavalry like Runesroot, and Sasha is going to be flying far away from the rest of the army most of the time, so she won't really get much use out of it. I do need to remember, though, that I have to give this back to Plum before the end of this route splits, because she needs it to trigger an event. But other than that, I think we're free to set out for the next chapter. So, I said before that Chapter 10 is a weird chapter, but it's not the weirdest in the game. That's because this is the weirdest chapter in the game. And you will see once we begin this chapter, this is such a bizarre map. I don't even know why it's even a real chapter, but anyway. So, it doesn't really matter who you bring here, as long as you have Martel, if she's present in Holmes' party, and also you want to bring Atron. This isn't that much of a guide, dang it, since he's from this village anyway, so might as well, like, bring him. Other than that, again, it doesn't really matter who you choose to bring here. I suppose I could bring Plum to dance for people, even though not even that is actually that useful in this chapter. Oh, of course, Krishna goes. Why is she here? So yes, make sure you have these two, and also you might want to have 7,000 gold or more. But don't worry too much if you don't, you can revisit this map later. Martel's starting position was a little annoying, but yeah, I guess it's like the positions cluster around the main lord. So Blood isn't exactly a hostile power. Why do we have a chapter here? Well, we'll find out. The objective of this map is just to have Holmes visit the mansion. I guess it is nice to be out in nature where, well, I mean, I would say there's less pollution, but there probably isn't that much. I mean, I guess blacksmiths give off some pollution in a medieval setting. And he's still angsting about his sister who just took a big swim. Holmes has still got that goal in mind of getting that resurrection orb. I know your sister just died and all, but you should really lighten up. Meanwhile, Katri is just going, yay, flowers! As she does, because Katri. You know, Holmes probably does love flowers, because when he says that he doesn't care about something, it means he does, because he's a tsundere. Oh, it's this guy. This guy is a bit of a meme within the TearRing Saga community. We technically are thieves, but we're the good kind, so please don't attack us or anything. Yes, benevolent pirates, that's a better way of putting it. I actually think this is the scene that had a slight change in the fan localization. I'll call it here. Oh look, it's a palette swap of that horrible woman from Chapter 10. The good news is this milk is not drugged. This is the nice kind. And yeah, this part right here. So they're comparing heights here. In the Japanese version, they were comparing bust size. The person who did this fan translation, he put it in a bit more vague words in his Tumblr post, which I'm still not going to link to yet, because even though it is very informative, it has a lot of spoilers for things that would change later in the story. But in a post he made on Serenade's Forest a while back, which I think is exactly the kind of post that he ended up regretting later down the line, where he feels like he sounded a little bit, I don't know, like an elitist in a way. But back then he was saying that he changed this scene because it made him shake his fist and scream, "Anime!" So yeah, don't let people say that only Awakening and Fates have anime tropes. Because, yeah, even a Fire Emblem that is not a Fire Emblem game, even a Kaga game, had girls comparing bust size. But anyway, we're about to find out why this chapter is so weird. These two really want a taste of the action and don't want to be treated like little kids anymore. And for that reason, they're gonna try and kill us now. Meanwhile, at the church, another very, very strange character is being introduced. The fan translator has commented that her name could possibly be, like, Lilia, but he likes Lyria because it seems to have some meaning for her character, as we'll see in a moment. So, Lyria is a character who, like Katri, is a bit naive, but Lyria is a little bit different to Katri in that she's just kind of weird. She marches to her own beat, basically. She is incredibly out there, and doesn't even seem to be all that present in most conversations. So yes, this is why they went with Lyria, because it sounds a little bit like lyrical, so it reflects her singing. Basically, she's a cleric who doesn't want to be a cleric, which reminds me of a Critical Role character. Well, actually, she still does want to be a priestess, but she wants to be a singing priestess, which now just makes me think of Sister Act. This guy's name literally is Mr. Priest, just like that old bad translation. I mean, he probably does have a name, it's just... I'm gonna call him that from now on. Bound to come back soon. Well, not if the player forgot to deploy him in this map. So, yeah, you need to bring Atrom here. I don't know if there are any real hints that it has to be Atrom. But anyway, we have Frau and Sun here. Pegasus Knight and Cavalier, respectively. A pretty weak Cavalier too, but we'll see. So right now, we just want to stay the heck out of their range, which is easier said than done, it looks like. As Atrom makes his way to the church to talk to Lyria. And yeah, I have to somehow get Martel over there without suffering from Mathis syndrome. The only real challenge of this chapter, as you can see, is not killing those two. Or I could just attempt to just put Holmes in their range and have them attack him, because they're not... Oh no, you wouldn't use a javelin against Holmes, would you? I don't trust you not to use a javelin against Holmes. But I also don't trust you not to die against Samson. This is actually kind of tricky. I don't want to put one of my... Dragon Capture would just kind of kill them. This is actually pretty awkward. I think if she deployed a little bit further forward, then maybe she could have recruited on turn 1. I'm not sure, but anyway, ignoring them, Sarge's going to fly all the way over here, because there's a lot of houses to visit on this map, and each of them has a particular effect. Most of the blue-roofed houses here... I am stupid. I forgot Plum was a dancer. Oh well. Yeah, I'll just wait for the next turn to recruit her. It should be easy then. Anyway, I'll take my mind off of that by doing this. I gotta remember that. Yes, Plum is a dancer. I have a dancer now. My mind is not in the you have a dancer mindset. I need to readjust until it is. I'm talking over the amazing promotion theme. And Xeno gets this kind of cool half cape. And a pretty good strength boost too. Decent defense as well. That mastery is a little insane for this point. And so, Xeno has now become Brave Youth, the title of the first chapter of the Fire Emblem 6 manga. And yes, youth was... I am pretty sure I did look it up, and that the word they used for youth was in fact shonen in Japanese. And that says a lot about the first chapter of the Fire Emblem 6 manga. Yes, Al. In my Cypher video, people ask why Al is controversial. Why do these two get such ominous music? That's kind of... and that's simply because he's, yeah, Holmes can't talk to them. Doesn't even tell you that Martel can talk, but she definitely can. But yeah, that's because Al is a generic shonen hero. But anyway, don't do attack, do talk. I was just trying to kill everyone to get good favor with Lord Lionheart. I do love how we get to see Martel in full big sister mode here. It kind of reminds me a lot of Marsha and Makalov, although not as hilarious, from Path of Radiance. You can just imagine her sort of, yes, sis. She's probably used to getting scolded by Martel by now. So, now that Frau's been recruited, she has to talk to San. This was all a really big misunderstanding that could have potentially got you killed horribly. Yeah, this is why you talk to your commander before you engage enemies. So, we have these two, and before I give their bios, I'll just mention, they're the only enemies in this map. So, now Holmes can just make his way over to the Seize Point and just end the chapter. That's it. That's this entire chapter. Just a couple of overzealous kids who oh, by the way, I'm just going to turn animations on just for now, just so I can show Plum's dance animation here. The only enemies were a couple of overzealous kids who thought you were bandits and wanted to curry favor with their commander by fighting you. You just talk to them to recruit them and that's it. That's all the enemies. It's just... And the rest of this chapter is just shopping and skill learning, and it's all optional. And... you know, again, potentially visiting the church with Atron for another recruitment. It's just like, what even is this chapter? What was going through Kaga's mind when he decided that this needed to be a chapter in its own right? Atron can't quite reach the church yet, but oh well. So the houses, in fact, the first thing I'm going to do is visit this one. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what the houses do, but I think this house is one of two things. In fact, actually no, I do remember what this house is. This is a really cool looking unique NPC portrait that we actually only see for this. This guy is a blacksmith. He wants to make a silver sword, but for that, he needs an estoc and a silver shield. In my opinion, the silver shield is actually way more valuable than the silver sword. It only has 2 uses, but it raises defense by 20 when held, which can lead to a lot of pretty useful strategies. So, remember how I've said a lot that, there are some items that, we need to keep for side quests later? This is what I meant. I'm gonna save the other shops until after we've finished this place. So, suppose you can visit this house now. The Forge is kind of like an item trading quest in Zelda. If you give them 2 specific items, then they will make another item for you. There are 2 forges in the game, and they both have 5 items they can make. You have to make the items in order. And that's why I've had to save a few items, because we can make the silver shield via the second forge, which we'll encounter soon. And this is a gambling house. You can choose heads or tails, and you get 1,000 gold if you win, and lose 1,000 if you lose. No thanks. I mean, with save state abuse, you could probably make a lot of money this way, but I'm not going to resort to that. And the rest of the... Okay, there's one more house here as well, and I think I know what that house is, so... I'm just going to... I think for now I'll end turn. Oh, by the way, the speedrun actually does recruit Sun and Frau, just because the enemy phase, thing popping up still wastes time, so it's actually faster than killing them, which I'm glad for. Also, the speedrun recruits Sun as well and has a specific use for her later in the game. Unfortunately, said use is a little depressing. Speaking of depressing, we have to give this guy the sad news now. So, Lionheart is also going to be very upset at this because he seems to have known her. And, well, the leader of those pirates is now on our side. I wonder what this guy would think about that. It's kind of interesting we've got a bit of a cross-route subplot with Muriel here. Oh yes, because Lyria's going to be a great friend, isn't she? Lyria seems to be more the kind to be a burden than a friend, but at least she's nice. Him saying odd girl there just makes me think of Ghost Trick with the exchange. Odd girl, I agree, me too. So without me actually recruit Lyria, I'm not going to give her bio yet though, because she gets something very soon that is pretty much the main thing she has going for her, but it's a very good thing. Speaking of bios though, finally I'll go over Frau. Frau is often described as the est, but not really est of this game. She joins relatively late and at a low level. However, she is still a Pegasus Knight, the most broken class in the game, and she's only 1 mastery potion off using Levin swords. And you have access to an easy mastery potion in Chapter 14 if you chose it from the chests, and you'll also get a free one on the way to Holmes' next chapter after Chapter 16. Other than that, Adept at level 12 is kind of nice too. She has 1 point of base strength higher than Martel, and has fairly decent growths. That's pretty much all there is to Frau. She is another Pegasus Knight, and that's always a good thing. She just takes a little bit to get off the ground. No pun intended. And Sun. I've often seen it said that Sun is the best investment unit Kaga has ever designed, and I would agree. She joins late enough to be distinct from any other early game growth units, but not too late that training her is impossible. Unlike Narron, it actually takes some effort to get her out of her bad start, but not so much effort that it's unreasonable, and that effort definitely pays off as she promotes to Black Paladin, the second best cavalry class next to Gold. Not only does it give solid promotion bonuses, but it also has the Flurry skill, but only while mounted. Flurry is possibly the best offensive skill in the game, giving you additional rounds of combat against any enemy you have even one attack speed higher than, and if the enemy can't counter, it's effectively a free one-round kill. And while Sun's mastery might not be that great to start out with, she does have a high growth and a good promotion bonus in mastery, so it's not too hard to get pylums on her. Her growths are overall decent, including a really overkill skill growth that doesn't really serve that much of a purpose in my opinion, but at least it's there. She is mainly carried by her promotion gains and flurry though. And also, despite being someone you have to train, she does join on Holmes' route, so that helps, and what also helps is getting Paragon in only 3 levels. You can quite easily get her to level 10 using the Isaurus skirmish, but if you frown on that, there is a forced skirmish on Holmes' route coming up fairly soon that is full of Entombed. I understand that not every player will want to train San, but she's one of my favourite units in the whole game, and I'll definitely be using her this playthrough. She basically becomes a mini Narron on promotion, and that's always a good thing. And now let's have San visit this house. The rest of the houses are all skill learning ones, and there are a few actual options there. As for this house, that might not seem like much, but I believe that house is actually a secret shop. The thing is though... Oh wait, no, wait a minute. No, I think that one's the secret shop. There is a secret shop in this map, I'll just say. However, the member key is currently stuck on Runan's route. We can get another member key for Holmes' route, but it requires you to use the forges. You need to combine, I believe, a Thief's Dagger, which also requires the forge to even make in the first place, and a bridge key. Yeah, that's the secret shop. Okay, yes, that's wrong. So this house instead, I think, is an inn. How the inns work is that when you return to this map later on, if you go to an inn, you'll get the option to stay the night, and if you do, that will just end the visit and proceed you back to the world map. That's how, like, you can come back here for shopping or learning skills anytime if you miss anything. Or to access the forges, which we will need to do later. Because some of the items we can make from the forges, they require things that we don't have access to just yet. Okay, I am looking up. Okay, now I believe this house right here has Frontiersman. I want to teach Frontiersman to somebody. And let's see who I should teach that to. I'm tempted to go for either Shigen or Vega, because they're both very strong offensively, and you want Frontiersman on a good attacking unit at this point, and Samson already has it. I would actually recommend Lionel to have Frontiersman if you have him, but I don't have Lionel, so I'm going to have to make do here. Holmes is also a great candidate for Frontiersman because it helps him move faster and get to chests, and also there are a few frontier maps that are seas, so yes, Holmes will be quite useful there. Regarding the other houses on this map, can Lyria talk to anybody? Doesn't look like it. Regarding the other houses on this map though, one thing that I have seen suggested by some people is Urbanite on Plum. That'll give her +1 movement, and she's a dancer, so that's always useful, on urban maps, and yeah, I think I'm going to give Frontiersman to Shigen. The reason why I'm not going to go for it on Vega is because Vega is going to have to go back to Runan's party after this part of Holmes' route is over. So he's not going to stay around the frontier maps for long. So, 7,000 gold. Yep, teach me, Mr. Big Eye Patch Man. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it as Miss Lychee. But yep, there's Frontiersman. And I'm just going to end turn once more just to check if these are unlimited use or not. Because I saw something that said they were, but at the same time, they might actually not be. Frontiersman is not a good idea on San, though, because she's forced to dismount on a lot of frontier maps, and frontier terrain hurts cavalry movement quite a bit. Oh, it is unlimited, as long as you have the cash. Okay, yeah, if you do have the money, or if you want to just gamble for more money here, I would recommend putting Frontiersman on all of your best fighters. Because Frontier, and also Homes, definitely Homes. I should also mention though, the next map will let you learn Frontiersman for free, so don't despair if you don't have enough gold for it yet, but the Frontiersman here is unlimited, whereas I'm pretty sure the free Frontiersman is one time only. And I'm going to use the free Frontiersman on Homes. Frontiersman will let you move 2 spaces per turn through swamps instead of 1, and that's going to be very, very useful in Chapter 16. Please forgive my subordinates for doing it. They're young and stupid. Not to really insult. I like Sun, personally. And Frau is a Pegasus Knight, so they're always great. Wow, okay, we've had an actual successful civilian uprising in a strategy RPG in a medieval setting. That's actually really rare. So, what's interesting is that, yeah, Lionheart's not his real name, which would make sense. It does sound more like a title. Also, I guess I can talk about this now. So, this guy has vaguely Middle Eastern-inspired clothing. He's a powerful cavalryman and in a position of authority in this area, with brown hair, with an animal-themed nickname. This guy is a complete rip-off for Harden from Marth's games. So, yes, yet another example of Kaga's blatant copyright infringement. So our kind of coincidental right place at the right time heroism in Orcus Village might have actually helped out Lionheart's war effort here. By getting rid of the ruffians and bandits there, I mean, he's still got enemies to 3 sides, but it's better than all sides. Huh, I guess there were more of them. Oh, wait a minute, maybe he's only the last now. Because Tom killed one of the others in the arena. Whoops! Okay, Ahab himself is hauled up there. So Lionheart can't exactly leave this town because, you know, he needs to defend the place. Lord Carnell, he was that guy who was talking to... I've already forgotten his name. The whip-torturing man who we just killed in Runen's Chapter 10. So Runen and Holmes' plots are starting to cross over a little bit now. And that is a completely independent faction. We have monsters as well that are plaguing the lands here. Erial has abandoned Fort Ligria. I feel like we've heard the name Erial before. Oh yep, Moguls. They're a thing in this game. And if you're hoping that was Sacred Stones Moguls, Sacred Stones didn't exist at this point. They are Gaiden Moguls. And if you know how Gaiden Moguls work, you know why I'm dreading the next part of the game. Yes, blatantly just saying, oh yeah, we're here to just pilfer that old palace. It is kind of weird though, so Holmes is actually saying we need to pass through Murmur Caves to get to Leader Palace, except it's actually more of a detour. So, we're going on a mogul hunt here. And something to mention as well, I said back in the route split video that you don't need Martell and Holmes' route to do the recruitment in Chapter 15. Sun and Frau join you automatically at the end of this chapter as long as they're alive. So, even if you didn't bring her, you will not miss out on getting them. It's just a lot more convenient to recruit them with her, plus you get a funny conversation. Well, slightly funny conversation. Just remember, don't be stupid. You know, I actually beg to differ about individual moguls. The thing is, due to the way this game works, their weapon has 0 weight, which means that they have annoyingly high attack speed, so they can double weaker characters, and they are surprisingly durable for how weak they are. Because they're incredibly difficult to double. However, her new BFF is going to come with us too, and for that I'm very grateful. Holmes has become a babysitter.